you have those kids like me that don't believe in magic,
hardest
like,
audience.
I'll just sit there and I would try and take them down.
The way a kid thinks is so much different than an adult. You know, an adult thinks of 50 different ways of how he did it, where a kid goes, "It's behind your hand," and you're like, "Just shut up, be quiet."
Right. But the most famous piece of magic I have is the old piece of thumb.
The whole thumb one. I always preferred this one. You know, then you make two appear. You can split them.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Health, Beauty, and Fitness. Today we have Kevin Nicholas, who definitely looks fit. He does look beautiful. He does look youthful as well. And he is young at age 22, but he certainly looks, well, younger than 22, so that's good.
Oh, looking 16.
You know, we all want to look older, but then there comes a point where we want to look younger. You know, there's that point where you kind of turn around and you say, I want to be younger, not older anymore. I'm about right at that point now.
I always say, I look like I'm 22 and I look like I'm 16, so I can't wait till I'm 40. I'll be the hot dad. I'm parent teacher dad.
That's right, that's right. So Kevin is a magician or an illusionist, and he is performing his magic, his entertainment style. He does a lot of restaurants and bar and club atmospheres, and he's going to tell us about what it's like to be an illusionist and how do you get interested in it and what he does, and does this actually make a living for him. So good morning, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So so you said you're a magician or an illusionist. So tell us about those terms at least.
Magician is kind of, when people think of magician, they think kid shows and stuff like that, which I've kind of branched off from really early on.
Yes.
You know, when I first started getting in, where most magicians do, they did kid shows.
Right.
And
that's a nice niche.
It's great.
Do a couple of shows on the weekend.
Yeah.
Saturday and a Sunday.
Kids do kid shows, but for me, I always felt I started magic late. I started when I was 15, where most kids start when they're 7. So what they thought was exciting, I wanted to go, oh, maybe I can do this to meet girls. Maybe I can do this. And then I started making money doing it.
Oh, so let's talk about it a little bit. So you started, so tell me what was going on when you were 15. I mean, I know when I was 15, the only magic was, those nights.
Those nights.
Otherwise, magic, there was no magic involved.
Right. Well,
so tell us about that.
At 14, I saw an infomercial. It was this magic VHS set, and and I somehow, I guess, convinced my parents to buy it for me. It was like a magic set, but they did it on video.
And it came with some props?
I believe it came with props.
Right.
And I remember there was like 30 or 40 tricks on each.
Card tricks?
It was everyday objects.
Yes.
And so because of that, and so there was 30, 40 tricks on each VHS or each tape, and there was 5 tapes. I learned all of them in like a week and a half.
So in other words, you asked your parents to buy you something, and you actually used it?
Yeah, and I used it. Yeah.
Wow.
Turned out to be a pretty good investment over time.
Yes, it seems that way.
And so it was great though, because I learned them all, and my mom was like, "You learned all these in like one week?"
Yeah.
I was performing for everybody before I knew.
At that point, had you known you wanted to be a performer? Were you like a ham? Like, what kind of kid were you? Because you weren't doing magic from 7 to 14, the traditional formative magic years. And then at 15, when we kind of like say, all right, what's going on here?
You're absolutely right. No, I was always the center of attention kid. I remember being like 5 or 6 years old.
You like bouncing off the wall type
I
of kid?
I was definitely the kid that had the imagination that it didn't require me to have friends around me at all times. I can literally entertain myself for hours upon hours, and I was very involved with sports and stuff like that as well growing up,
right.
Which is actually kind of different from most magicians that
Yes, yeah.
A lot of magicians are a little more on the shyer side and use magic to kind of break out, which is great.
Yes, yeah.
For me, it was the complete opposite.
Right.
I was the kid that was in theater. I did plays in elementary school.
You had a penchant for, you were the kid that was in the school play.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Well, in elementary school, definitely I was.
Yes, yeah, that's good.
And then,
that's all right.
And then in middle school is when I really got into magic and
kind
of and I was awful. I was awful.
So before you actually saw that infomercial and your parents bought you, how much did the kit cost? Do you remember?
It had to be something of probably about $100,
wow.
$120. Yeah, it was one of those things that it was a lot of negotiating with the parents. Like,
yeah.
I don't want anything for a month. You know,
a whole month. It's funny. All right, so up until that point, you never did any of this stuff before.
No.
Were you like a jokester?
I remember, I never thought myself funny.
Yeah.
I think one report card I was characterized as the class clown. But, you know.
So you were an emerging class clown?
You know what
Coming
it was?
into your own?
I think it was more of the fact that I was, I've always thought of myself as, you know, I was never always the cool kid. Right. So I guess maybe one time I was a little more, you know, trying to be the kid that was funny.
Right.
When, in honesty, I wasn't. I was just
right.
that really annoying kid that just, you know, interrupted people and stuff.
Gotcha.
So.
But you like sort of, you know, you changed your
I changed
a little bit to become a little more socially interactive.
I saw a big change in the personality. I mean, I always like to consider myself, you know, I'm a dork with a side of geek, you know, like, you know.
You seem like you're outgoing.
I've always been a very outgoing and fun kid to be around and stuff.
Right.
I think that was the good thing in high school was I never had one clique. I knew the jocks, I knew the kids that were, you know, the troublemakers.
Right.
And then I was with, you know, and I could skateboard with the punks, you know.
Right.
I was able to mingle in with that.
You could cross over all the variable social networks of your childhood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was always fun because I always had a place to sit at lunch, or I always
like if you went to that table, they said, "Hey,
what's going on?"
Went to that one.
It was
Easy.
fun. I got characterized though in high school as Magic Kevin. That was, you know, and it wasn't exactly the most attractive name you could have in high school. You know, it wasn't like, hey, you know, the captain lacrosse team, you know, that all-American.
At least you had a nickname.
I had a nickname and stuff, and it actually still follows me a little bit now. It's kind of like if I ever see a friend out there.
You know, for me, that's it. If I ever see you again, it's Magic Kevin.
It's Magic Kevin. Oh, great.